The healer was abused for years until he turned back time, and now it's his turn to make them suffer. Hello and welcome back to AniCap Explained. Today we'll be recapping the anime redo of The Healer, so let's begin. The story begins as a young man named Keyaru wakes up in a cold sweat surrounded by voices in his head. There he sees Anna, his guardian. He continues his day. However, the voice takes control of his body. It leads him to a star spirit who grants him an ability called Halcyon Eye, which allows him to see all creation. We learn that Keyaru was a healing hero in his previous life. However, his power had a fatal flaw that forced him to endure the painful memories of those he healed. He was unwillingly held by the hero's party and forced to use his power in battle to recover his captors who abused him daily. However, unknown to anyone, he grew stronger after absorbing his captors' experiences, learning unconventional healing methods to one day take revenge. One day, as the party faces off against the Demon Lord, Keyaru escapes and defeats the Demon Lord and uses her core, which is a Philosopher's Stone, to travel back 4 years to exact revenge on the ones who have wronged him. After gaining Halcyon Eye, he retrieves all his memories. He starts his plan by training until he acquires the skill of poison resistance. One day, Flare, the princess of the Joral Kingdom, comes to recruit him. She takes him back to her castle. There, Keyaru is placed into the healer class and granted Hero of Recovery's title. He gets settled into the court and starts to have fun with his knight maids, which gives him more experience. One day he is summoned by the king to heal the sword Saint Kureha. He performs his duty, but he gets an extreme shock from his power and faints. This reveals Flare's true colors as she grants permission to experiment on him to make him useful. However, it is revealed to be all Keyaru's plan. After waking up, he pretends to be afraid of his powers and swears never to heal again. Flare decides to imprison him. Their Keyaru is then horribly abused, addicted to drugs, and forced to use his powers. However, he absorbs the skill of the people he heals, and one day when his drug resistance skill is unlocked, he makes his move. He uses his stolen abilities to escape, disguising himself as Reynard, Flare's Imperial commander, to sneak up on her. He then starts paying her back for the abuse he endured, breaking and healing her fingers repeatedly before violating her. He sets fire to Flare's room and escapes with her, setting up evidence to make Reynard look like the culprit. We learn that he has used his powers to reshape his and Flare's face, and has altered her memories to make her believe she is a woman named Freya, Keyaru's beloved. Keyaru also abandons his old name, calling himself Kyaruga, and targets his other abusers. Kyaruga decides to skip town and head to Lecherous, a lawless city. Upon reaching the city, he immediately notices an illness due to a contaminated water source. He sees this as an opportunity and decides to create and sell remedies for this disease for money. After selling the medicine to a local merchant, he decides to buy a combat veteran to aid him in his adventures. Once there, a werewolf of the Ice Clan catches his attention. He learns from the people merchant that a strange illness has gotten a hold of her and thus she will not be able to get stronger. He also knows that she holds deep resentment towards the world. However, he promises her revenge and decides to buy her. At home, Kyaruga uses his powers to cure her illness and better her physical ailments. He learns of her hatred towards Joral mercenaries, which captured and forcefully held her entire clan. As she wakes up, she introduces herself as Setsuna. Kyaruga claims he will aid Setsuna in her revenge. However, she is far too weak for it. He informs her that he has a method to make her more robust using the hero's seed, which removes the level cap on people. Setsuna reluctantly partakes in his yummy liquid and feels the power pouring out of her. Kyaruga then takes Setsuna and Freya to the clan and aids them in murdering the mercenaries, allowing Setsuna to claim revenge. Later that night, Kyaruga has fun playing with Setsuna's body, enabling him to get her complete devotion. Meanwhile, at the castle, the king learns that Reynard is not the culprit and tasks him to capture the real Hero of Recovery to clear his name entirely. Kyaruga and the gang head back to Lecherous in a journey full of loot acts. However, they are attacked by Kureha upon entering. She claims that he was the one who killed many Joral soldiers who were protecting the Ice Wolf clan. She continues to attack Kyaruga, but he splashes her with an aphrodisiac and shows her memories of the Ice clan being abused. Kureha faints and wakes up to face Kyaruga, who reveals his and Freya's identity. He adds that the kingdom was unjust and they were trying to save it. Kureha believes Keyaru and apologizes, offering her body and stating she will assist him in the future. Before we proceed further, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. Done? Well then, let's continue. The following day, they hear announcements outside. They find that Kyaruga's village men were captured by Reynard and are being used as bait. He also learns that Reynard has abused Anna and disposed of her. He decides to meet Reynard and calls him out at night. There Keyaru reveals his identity to Reynard and easily overpowers him. He then transforms him into a woman, prompting his troops who are drugged to brutally violate him. Later, Flair's younger sadistic sister named Norn orders the execution of all the captured villagers. Kureha informs Keyaru. However, Keyaru is scared shitless of Norn, stating that she is the only one who could manage to kill him. On the fated execution day, he reveals himself from the crowd, gaining everyone's attention. Keyaru begins to slaughter the executioners, not stopping even when they start killing the villagers. The executioners try to use a magical barrier to drain his strength, but Freya reverses the effect. Keyaru figures out the villagers were poisoned. Thus they were already dying and could not save many people. However, he can create confusion as Flair reveals herself and reveals the corruption in Jorel, causing the audience to turn on the executioners and kill them. Even after these hardships, Keyaru is only able to save one boy. He decides to leave town and head to Branica as he wants to meet the Demon Lord. He leaves Kureha to continue gathering info on the kingdom. She also informs him that Norn is also leading an expedition to Brencia. The gang reaches Branica, a city where humans and demons coexist. They eat at a restaurant where they meet Eve Reese, the Demon Lord whom Keyaru met in his previous life. However, her appearance is different, which causes Keyaru to realize she is not yet the Demon Lord. We learn that she is a member of the Blackwing tribe, whom the current Demon Lord ordered to be eradicated. Suddenly, bounty hunters attack and Eve is hit by a paralyzing arrow. However, Keyaru's party rescues her. While hiding, Keyaru informs to her she will become the Demon Lord, offering to protect her until then. He also adds that they have already met once in the future. Eve, however, doesn't believe him but agrees to stay for protection. Later that night, Eve wakes up and is embarrassed after finding Keyaru having fun with Freya and Setsuna. Keyaru taunts her, inviting her to join them to prove she is a grown-up. Eve, however, turns down his offer, but they ignore her and continue. After finishing, Keyaru again states his demands for protecting Eve, to give him the Philosopher's Stone and for her to make peace with humans. He also asks her about the monster she controls and is told it is the legendary bird Caladrius. However, she has to overcome many trials to control him completely. The next day, Keyaru goes to check the situation at the pub, but a bounty hunter recognizes him due to his scent and is killed by Keyaru. Later that night, he and Setsuna track down the bounty hunters and massacre them. As payback for them destroying the restaurant, they leave the survivors in a pit to be devoured by a beast. Freya buys a magic staff and Keyaru enhances its flow. The merchant notices this and asks him to improve a few teams he has in exchange for a discount and a mithril dagger. He accepts the deal but gets news Norn and Blade have arrived in Branica. Keyaru goes to peep into them but retreats when he notices Hawkeye, a legendary warrior of Jorel. The next day he learns about how Blade had assaulted a young lady yesterday by Carmen, the store owner from yesterday. Keyaru decides to use himself as bait, transforming into a woman named Kira to dispose of Blade. He visits a pub where Blade comes frequently. She is enticed by Kira and offers her a drink which is revealed to be a sleeping potion. Kira pretends to pass out. While Blade carries her back, the father of the girl Blade abused attacks her. Kira promptly knocks him out and proceeds to fight Blade. However, her divine weapon Ragnarok enhances her strength and allows her to heal from injuries. Kira is knocked out and wakes up tied to Blade's bed. Blade prepares to have her way but is horrified after seeing that Kira has a rod. Kira frees herself and stabs Blade. Blade tries to grab her sword and passes out as Kira declares it is time for revenge. Keyaru reads Blade's memories, learning Norn plans to attack Branica. He then paralyzes Blade's legs and has 3 drugged men violate her. The men have their fun and then eat her, causing Ragnarok to revert to a gem. He turns back to Keyaru and meets Hawkeye, who is impressed by the potions Keyaru has created and invites him to work for him, but he declines. However, after seeing Hawkeye's strength up close, he connects with the gem to form a new weapon. It transforms into a gauntlet that can heal the user's injuries. Keyaru celebrates by having fun with Freya and Setsuna while he plays with herself. Soon Norn, under the pretext of liberation from demons, attacks everyone indiscriminately. Keyaru is furious when Carmen is killed and begins to slaughter the soldiers. Meanwhile, Flair projects a giant hologram of herself in the sky, leaving Norn and Hawkeye shocked. Freya declares demons are not the enemy and orders the soldiers to stand down, and they heed her words. Meanwhile, Keyaru breaks into the castle and confronts Hawkeye and Norn. He uses his powers to kill Hawkeye and knocks out Norn. Afterward, he reads her memories and learns she was responsible for killing Anna. When she wakes up, He avenges her by tormenting her, making her one of his women and erasing her memories. Meanwhile, the king of Jorel assigns Bullet to stop Keyaru. Bullet is eager to meet him and have his way. Keyaru realizes he is starting to care for his girls, but decides he will never know peace until he gets revenge on Bullet and heads on his revenge-driven journey. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, then please consider liking and subscribing to AniCap Explained. We'll see you in the next one.